Hello BookTube, I'm here to do a tag. This is the old books tag. I'll leave the appropriate links down below. And there's a series of 7 questions. Question number 1, have you ever bought a book that was made before you were born? Yes. I prefer backlist books, as some call them. Books that have stood the test of time. The vast majority of my books were published before the turn of the century, I guess. Not all of them. That's a sand truck going by. We got sheet ice everywhere. It was a bit interesting to watch this tag on some channels, and folks are trying to see if they found anything made before like 1995. So yeah, for me it would not be an issue to find a book made before 1995. Which book on your shelves takes place in the earliest time period? And for that, A Brief History of Time, Stephen Hawking, starting with the Big Bang. So you can't get any earlier than that, or if you can, the physics is beyond me. The physics of the Big Bang is beyond me, but it's neither here nor there. Do you have a book that was originally published the same year you were born? This was a bear. I went all over my house, different bookshelves, trying to pick books that were as close as possible to when I was born. And I would hit on either side, a year or two here, a year or two there. So I did finally find one, and oddly enough, it's one of my favorite books. And it was The City and History by Lewis Mumford, Harcourt, Brace and World. Doesn't have a dust jacket anymore. A fascinating study of the city. And this was published same year I was published, 1961. So, fascinating study. It's still a fascinating study, so if you have the opportunity, pick it up if you like nonfiction. Pick it up if you don't like nonfiction, maybe you'll end up liking nonfiction. Which book have you had on your shelf the longest? Well, I'm just coming close on this because I have no idea. And this, I was guessed it was Burton H. Throckmorton's Gospel Parallels. This belonged to my father when he was a seminarian, and he studied under Burton Throckmorton, as, oddly enough, did I. So this is Gospel Parallels, a synopsis of the first 3 Gospels. Thomas Nelson Incorporated, Nashville. And the 3rd edition was 1967, but originally came out in 49. So we've had this book around forever. It looks like we've had this book around forever. Which book have you had the longest that you have never read? Well, if I've had it for a while, I've read it. I mean, I do buy books forward, in other words, so that I can get to them. But if I've had a book on my shelves more than a year or two, I've already read it. I can't think of any exceptions, and every once in a while I'll find a book, and I may have picked it up more than a couple years ago, but if I haven't read it, I'm probably going to get rid of it. So I don't do a lot of that. I know some folks put them out farther before they get to them, and that's fine. What is the oldest book you own? So for this one, I've got a very interesting copy to show you. And it is by Charles Boyle, Earl of Orrery, excuse me, his name is Charles Boyle. He was 1676 to 1731. And the title of this book is Dr. Bentley's dissertation on the Epistles of Phalaris and the Fables of Aesop. examined by Charles Boyle. And the copy I have is a second edition from London. It's from Thomas Bennett at the Half Moon on St. Paul's Churchyard, and it was published in 1698. So there was a big literary controversy. I even think that Dean Swift got involved. It had to do with the whether the epistles of Phalaris were even real, and it was an open question at the time. I think since they've been shown to not be real, so the controversy is no longer with us, let us say. So I'm going to show you this book. The covers are detached, which actually would have been the case when the book was published. You would have bought the book, and then you would have added covers yourself. So I could get covers made for this, and it wouldn't affect it as an artifact. I'm going to be a little careful because it is very, very fragile, as you could imagine. See the different color types of print. The date right there by my thumb. So this was 1698. And St. Paul's Churchyard was commonplace for these books to come out. And let's see if we can get in some pages here. You know, they use different types of font and all this. So that would be a pretty old book. I don't ever take it out, really. I take it out for this video, but then it goes back in a plastic bag, which is probably not the best, with the description and all that. And who knows, someday it may get covered again, or not. It's not really worth a lot of money. I mean, it has an interesting, if somewhat minor, role in intellectual or literary history, but it's not a valuable book. It'd be fun to look at on somebody's shelf, especially if somebody had a nicer cover for it, which I do not. And then the final question is, which book did you have that was written the longest time ago? I have a lot of books that were written a long time ago. Took a bit of a guess here. Let me grab them. And that would have been, these are translated versions of the book, but I'm guessing the Iliad and the Odyssey of Homer. I don't think I have a copy of Gilgamesh in here. I mean, you could take some books of the Bible and the Old Testament or the Hebrew Bible and probably make a case for some of the ages of those. But as far as I'm guessing, right now, I would guess the Iliad and the Odyssey. Like I said, I have no idea why. Maybe I do have a copy of the Epic of Gilgamesh and didn't even see it. But, so that is the old book tag. It's been around for quite a while. So everybody may have done it for all I know. And I was just in the mood to do a tag and I found it. I'll throw out a few names and to tag folks. If you've already done it, ignore me. If you want to do it and I don't say your name, just go ahead and do it, which is what I'm doing. Elena Macrodina, Todd the Librarian, Run Right Reads, Dane Cobain, trying to think, Ernest Lee Eston, and I think that'll be it for this right now. Be interested in to see if you do it, and it's sort of fun. But when you run around trying to find a book for your particular birth year, you might want to use a computer to figure it out. So that's the old book tag, and thank you, BookTube.